Welcome to the channel. Rings of Power episode 5 just dropped. It is really an episode that focuses on Anatar and Celebrimbor's forging of the rest of the rings. So we're just going to dive right in. If you are a Lord of the Rings fan, I would think that you would enjoy this episode because there was a lot of callbacks, Easter eggs. It was like going down memory lane. So we'll go into some of the details and then I'll give my review on the overall episode. All right. So in the beginning of the episode, they're showcasing the partnership between the elves and the dwarves, and then we see the doors of Durin. And if you're a Tolkien fan, that I would think that part was pretty crazy and pretty dope to see. So, and Celebrimbor unveiling the design of the doors, and in this episode, if you remember in the Lord of the Rings, Gandalf approaches the door and he says this secret code, which is friend, to open the door. And so it was really cool to see the origins of that, like to go back and to see where that all started. And like I said earlier, Anatar wants more rings. So episode 5 is highlighting that, his desire to have Celebrimbor make more rings for men in particular. And it's quite clear that initially that Celebrimbor is against it. But of course, Anatar is wanting to have him create the rings. And we see that the deception by Anatar over Celebrimbor, by lying and saying the deceit they both showed towards the High King, caused the dwarven rings to be negatively tainted. And of course, Anatar is just being the most deceptive, and he is so crafty in his manipulation, and he takes your fear and he uses it to get what he wants, and he does that very, very interestingly throughout this story. And so we see that in the relationship between Celebrimbor and Anatar. One of the themes that I really enjoy in this series and really in Tolkien's writing is what power does to people and once they attain it. And we see that with Prince Doran and his father. And he sees his father completely like just changing before his eyes because of this ring. And he's convinced that it's because of the ring, and maybe it's not because of the making of the ring necessarily, then it is because of who is making it. And so he makes that known to Celebrimbor in this episode, and it's like he knows there's something off with Anatar, and he wants to question it, and he wants to raise the question to Celebrimbor. Like, dude is not, there's something not right with this guy. So the other cool little Easter egg that we see in this episode is that Anatar mentions and name drops, some of the human heroes in he's trying to pitch this idea of getting new rings made for men, and in doing that, he's mentioning not all humans are uh corrupt, like we have human heroes of old. I just thought that was really cool. The other thing that we see is Farazan, and he has a scene with his son Kemen, and it's clear that he has taken the scepter and has become what he's always wanted to be, which is ruler. And this is, after declaring himself in the throne room in the previous to last episode. So we pick up on that storyline, and he has a scepter, and he is basically the guy in charge. So, and his son Kemen he's interesting. He is trying to he Farazan basically is like not pleased with his son and lets him know. So now Kemen is hell bent in pleasing his father, finding himself worthy, and he's making really stupid decisions because of that. And so we see that and where that leads. And Elendil, the faithful servant, he's the guy who he's just loyal, and he's loyal to the queen. And I think it has more to do, it's more than just being loyal to the state, the crown. For him, they have this like shared trauma, he and the queen. It's personal now. And so I love his leadership, and I love what we see in this episode, even when he turns in his sword and he does what the queen wants, which is for him to just let Farazan rule. He does that, but he also sees his men still call him captain and honor him. And even as he's walking away, they're honoring him and calling him by captain. And these are men. I feel like that whole scene is just a foreshadowing of where his leadership is going to lie in the Middle Earth and the battle and this war that's coming. The other thing that we saw, which I thought was really cool, I thought it was one of the most really like just pivotal scenes in the actual episode, in the entire episode, and maybe even in the entire series so far, is we finally see someone for the first time ever disappearing after they put on the ring. And that is, of course, Mary Diana putting on the ring of power, which makes her invisible, and even more so makes her see, or sends her to an unseen world and see the most uh, origin of form of Sauron, which she describes as his skin as fire, and which is very similar to what Frodo saw during the Third Age, which he described as a massive flaming ball. So, interesting scene, and even more interesting how Anatar handles that information, and he's just so quick. It's so crafty. One of the most upsetting scenes of the entire episode for me was the death of Valendil and by Kemen, and he is Isidore's best friend. And as soon as he put the sword down, I knew what was coming, and I was furious. Was not happy to see that. Was not happy at all to see that, and which really, yeah, it was just a hard scene to see for sure. And so I hope I covered everything that I saw in this episode. But if there's something that I missed, feel free to leave me a comment and let me know. Overall, I think this episode was really well done. It probably is one of the best episodes of the season so far, I would think, because of we're witnessing the forging of the rings. Anatar's is gaining more influence and power over people, and I feel like we got to see more of the dwarves and their storyline a little bit more, which I thought was really good and cool. And the other thing that I really enjoyed and was really hoping for is Adar and Galadriel joining forces and in defeating Sauron. Those two have a common enemy, and as Adar said, they should work together to bring an end to Sauron. And so he, at the end of the episode, he proposes that. So that is where we'll pick up for episode 6. I can't believe that we only have 3 more episodes. It's insane to think we only have 3 more episodes. So let me know your thoughts. I thought this was absolutely a standout episode, I think, for sure. Did I think that there were certain things that felt rushed? Yeah, sure. Undoubtedly some things were left in the cutting room floor, which is always so unfortunate, with some of these shows and stuff. You feel like there's certain parts of the storyline that gets rushed, but overall I thought this was a really great episode. So let me know your thoughts in the comments, and we'll talk to you next week.